The upcoming European elections could tip the balance between Giorgia Meloni's mainstream foreign policy and domestic far-right agenda.
Several protesters are arrested in Tel Aviv at a rally to demand the government reach a hostage deal with Hamas.
The upcoming European elections could tip the balance between Giorgia Meloni's mainstream foreign policy and domestic far-right agenda. In less than 2 years, the Italian Prime Minister has become one of Europe's most powerful far-right leaders. Her foreign policies reassure centrist allies, while on domestic issues she remains distinctly right-wing.
Non ho smesso di incontrare I leader internazionali per contribuire da un punto di vista italiano alla risoluzione delle crisi che viviamo a poche centinaia da casa nostra e più in generale a un protagonismo sempre più marcato dell'Italia sulla scena internazionale.
Meloni also has a potential political ally in the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who has not ruled out inclusion of Meloni's party in a coalition if needed. However, at a rally in Spain, von der Leyen admitted there was concern in Europe about the rule of law, saying Europe will act if put at risk. The European elections could be a moment of truth for Meloni, where she would be forced to take a clear ideological stand. Tens of thousands took part in the so-called Peace March in Budapest to show their support for Viktor Orban and the Hungarian government. Many felt that the stakes in next week's European Parliament elections will be higher than ever.
Borotva élen táncol az egész világ. Bármelyik pillanatban kitörhet a háború. Szót kell emelni, és mindenkinek ki kell állni azért, hogy béke legyen.
According to the Hungarian Prime Minister, it is up to Fidesz voters to prevent Europe from rushing into a war and thus into its own destruction.
Európa ma háborúba készül. Naponta jelentik be a pokolba vezető út újabb szakaszának átadását.
Fidesz had to deal with several serious scandals in 2024, but with the Peace March, they once again managed to demonstrate their strength ahead of the elections.
Prominent far-right activist Tommy Robinson has attended a march in London with thousands of British nationalists. They were marching against immigration and two-tier policing, a system which allegedly sees police deal with different protest groups in different ways. Protesters chanted anti-Islam slogans, with Robinson calling on followers to take back London's streets. The Met Police said they'd identified several people with links to football hooliganism, but that only 2 arrests had been made. Several anti-government protesters have been arrested after scuffles broke out between police and demonstrators in Tel Aviv. Thousands had gathered in the city to demand the Israeli government reach a deal to release the hostages still being held by Hamas in Gaza. On Saturday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a permanent ceasefire a non-starter until Israeli conditions for ending the war are met.
And with this deal,
that statement appeared to undermine a proposal that US President Joe Biden had announced as an Israeli one on Friday. Biden referred to the 3-phase plan as a truly decisive moment and urged Hamas to accept it. Meanwhile, smoke was seen rising from the direction of Rafah in southern Gaza on Saturday as the Israeli offensive in the besieged territory continues. India's 6-week-long national elections have come to an end, with the last of the country's hundreds of millions of voters casting their ballots. The election is widely seen as a referendum on Hindu nationalist Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decade in power. If Modi wins, he'll be only the second Indian leader to retain power for a 3rd term after Jawaharlal Nehru, the country's first Prime Minister. The results are expected to be announced on Tuesday.